How do you stop a man who treats life like an endless chessboard? How do you fight someone who thinks every tragedy is just another move in a twisted game? That's exactly what High Potential Season 2, Episode 2, titled Checkmate, dives into, giving us one of the creepiest, most calculating villains yet. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. Matthew Clark, aka the Game Maker, returns with more mind games, more eerie clues, and more psychological warfare against Morgan and her team. But this episode doesn't just wrap up the kidnapping arc. It also plants the seeds for the mystery of Roman, Morgan's long-lost ex-husband, and introduces Arthur, a man who may hold the key to unlocking the truth about his disappearance. Let's break down the ending, the major reveals, the unanswered questions, and what all of this could mean for High Potential moving forward. The Game Makers face off at the station. We pick up right after the Episode 1 cliffhanger, Matthew boldly walking into the police station, smirking like a man who thinks he's untouchable. That alone tells us everything we need to know. He doesn't fear the police. He relishes their attention. Kardak tries to break him during interrogation, but Matthew gives nothing. No record, no solid alibi, no fear. Instead, he plays psychological games, casually requesting Pillsbury cookies. Now, that might sound random, but Morgan catches the hidden meaning. It's a chess variation called Pillsbury. That tiny clue confirms Jason is the sacrifice in Matthew's sick game. This is where the show shines. It lets Morgan's genius cut through the noise. Where others see arrogance, she sees strategy. Where others hear nonsense, she hears the code. Chicken, bombs, and blinking clues. Matthew slips in another chilling taunt. He loved playing chicken as a kid, the kind of game where you either blink or crash. That moment is important because later, Morgan deciphers Maya's furious blinking in the hostage video as Morse code. The message? 2492. The brilliance here isn't just the code breaking, it's the tension. Morgan connects it to Jason's home, rushes there, and barely escapes when their police car explodes. A literal ticking clock, and they were seconds away from being blown apart. But this also raises questions. Did Matthew actually predict they'd arrive in time, or was he willing to sacrifice them too? That uncertainty makes him even scarier. He's not just clever, he's reckless in his control. Surrender to win the war. The turning point comes not from chess or codes, but from Morgan's son, Elliot. In a simple conversation about bullying and talent shows, Elliot tells her, "Sometimes you have to lose the battle to win the war." That line hits Morgan hard. Maybe the only way to outplay Matthew is to let him think he's won. So against all common sense, she goes to his apartment alone. And what does she do? She surrenders. She says she quits. She lets him believe he's the victor. It's risky, it's emotional, and honestly, it's a bit reckless, but it works. Matthew drops a hint, pointing her toward Maya's location. She hears bizarre love triangle blaring from a nearby apartment and finds Maya alive. It's almost too easy, and yet it's the moment Morgan needed to break through the fog. Derek's redemption. Meanwhile, Kardak tracks down Derek, who's still ready to kill Jason. Derek's grief has made him irrational, but Morgan's quick thinking saves the day. She puts Maya on the phone, letting Derek hear her voice. The relief in his surrender is palpable. He almost became a murderer, but Maya's survival pulls him back from the brink. This subplot does something crucial. It humanizes the victims. While Matthew plays puppet master, Derek shows us what grief does to a man who feels powerless. His breakdown isn't just filler, it's the emotional anchor that makes Matthew's cruelty feel that much more monstrous. The monkey clue and blood theft reveal. Just when it seems Matthew's case might collapse, no solid evidence, no eyewitnesses, no visible injuries on Maya, Morgan digs deeper. She remembers the poster in his apartment featuring a monkey that refuses captivity. Pair that with his hospital volunteer work, and suddenly it clicks. The blood on Maya's clothes? Not hers. Matthew stole her blood to fake injuries and confuse investigators. That's classic Game Maker. Every detail meticulously arranged, every clue a red herring. But this time, Morgan beats him at his own game. She confronts him with the security footage of the theft, and the look on his face when he realizes the game is over is priceless.
The balcony fall. Game over, but not really. Matthew, cornered, opens his balcony doors. The tension skyrockets. Will he jump? Will Morgan fail to stop him? Instead, he leaps, plummeting toward what he thinks is his death, only to bounce off a giant inflatable the police had prepared. It's dramatic, it's poetic, and it's a little darkly funny. The ultimate manipulator reduced to a man who couldn't even control his own ending. But here's the catch. He's alive, and in TV logic, that means he's not gone forever. Villains this well-crafted rarely disappear completely. One day, Morgan may have to face him again, perhaps in an even deadlier game. Matthew's weakest motive. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Matthew's motive. His mother was wrongfully imprisoned for theft, where she later died. His hatred of the rich explains why he targeted Jason, but dragging in Derek, Maya, and others, that doesn't track. Instead of making him sympathetic, it exposes his hypocrisy. He despises exploitation, yet exploits others in the same way. This contradiction could have been stronger with flashbacks or deeper backstory. Without it, his motive feels flimsy compared to his execution. Still, as a villain, he works because of his unpredictability, his mind games, and the sheer psychological torment he inflicts. Roman's shadow grows. The Arthur reveal. While the Game Maker arc dominates the episode, the Roman subplot is equally important. Daphne and Oz spot a mysterious man leaving a motel room, and for a moment, they think it's Roman, but Morgan quickly confirms it's not him. The man eventually introduces himself as Arthur, claiming Roman trusted Morgan more than anyone, but also warned him not to trust law enforcement. That's huge. It means Roman is alive, but he's hiding from something far bigger than a family dispute. Arthur hands Morgan a business card, signaling he's ready to talk when she is. His presence raises new mysteries. Was he part of Roman's FBI case? A private protector? Or maybe someone with his own agenda? The episode leaves it dangling, but Arthur's subtle glances, especially at Morgan's kids, hint at jealousy or unresolved tension. His connection to Roman is personal, maybe even intimate. Morgan, the mother, always first. Through all the chaos, one thing shines. Morgan as a mother. Despite bombs, kidnappings, and psychological warfare, she never misses a beat with her kids. Comforting Ava, encouraging Elliot, showing up for the talent show, she juggles it all without losing herself. And let's not forget Ludo, her steadfast support system. He's more than a babysitter. He's the unsung hero who holds the family together when Morgan's cases spiral out of control. His quiet dedication deserves as much applause as Morgan's brilliance. Christine's sharp observations. One of the best things about High Potential is how layered it is. This episode gives us plenty of subtle details worth noting. Morgan's trigger on Matthew wasn't random. She knew about his mother's death and used that knowledge strategically to push him into revealing Maya's location. The song choice, Bizarre Love Triangle, still feels oddly out of place. Was it symbolic of Matthew, Derek, and Maya? Or just a random creepy flourish? Arthur's annoyed glance at Morgan's family hint at a deeper, possibly emotional connection to Roman. Jealousy? Loyalty? Both? The show could easily spin off into Morgan's backstory, exploring her childhood struggles and how she relates so deeply to Elliot's experiences. Each of these details adds texture, showing how the writers weave emotional resonance into procedural beats. What comes next? With Matthew behind bars, the Game Maker arc is officially over, for now. But because he's alive, the door is wide open for a future return. Maybe not as a primary villain, but as a Hannibal Lecter-style consultant when the police need insight into another twisted mind. The bigger story now shifts to Roman. Who is he really running from? Why did he disappear 15 years ago? And how does Arthur fit into the puzzle? One thing is certain, Season 2 is building towards something massive. The standalone cases keep us hooked week to week, but the overarching mystery of Roman gives the show emotional weight. And with Morgan's personal and professional lives constantly colliding, every episode feels like a balancing act she somehow manages to pull off. Our nerdy thoughts. Season 2, Episode 2 of High Potential delivers on suspense, character development, and long-term storytelling. The Game Maker's defeat may not have been flawless. His motives were shaky, and some plot holes were a little glaring, but the tension, the codes, and the psychological warfare more than made up for it. Arthur's arrival, meanwhile, keeps the Roman storyline simmering, promising even bigger reveals down the line. But at its heart, though, This episode shows us why High Potential is becoming one of the best procedurals on TV right now. It's not just about solving crimes. It's about family, grief, survival, and the games people play when they're pushed to the edge. And that, my friends, is Checkmate.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.